Hey guys, welcome back to the Ramble. I am your host, Mariology here, and did the world end yet? Is the apocalypse over? I've been hibernating for a week and I have lost track of everything. Someone please let me know. In the meantime, this is Karen between the thighs of time. Masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. The death of masculinity in turn, at every turn, celebrated by high-handed academic nobles hell-bent on tuneless destruction. Auto-tuned destruction, manufactured by salty sirens singing sulking siren songs, lost at the seven seas, or at a loss for words to weep into the seven seasons of the seasoned sea, creating post-reason and post-truth a randomized fancy-sounding jargon instead. Overseeing and then overlooking academic rigor in fortified compost heaps of indoctrination previously known as high seats of noble learning, as pursuit of truth immaculate and clean, comparing apples to oranges in hallucinatory ibogaine dreams beneath this new green screen moon of ours, where they caught their venomous high in imaginary goddess pasts where all was one in insurmountable harmony. Where the one was lost between the thighs of time or between the tits of paramythological synthetic pasts dreamt up by sheltered prophets of the one true faith that says, in luscious, tongue-twisted and henpecked rhymes, masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. So say the high swingers, the over-educated gold diggers, the apocalyptically sized lie triggers triggered by anything so long as the god-awful triggering can be used in their defense and for their splendid cause be spent and used. Twitter gave me PTSD. Oh whoa, oh now, oh no, oh wow, oh boy. Twitter gave me PTSD. Say it ain't so. Oh no, forsooth, for sure. There's no blisters on these pale and noble hands, no sunburnt neck, no tired toil to rub the skin from these luscious lady lisps. Much apologizing. I meant of course to say lady lips. Lips that crack and bleed and break and moan at the discord brought from vague dissent. How dare this cock-wielding, woman-brutalizing, man-spreading defiler of sanctity and sanctity mansplain his atrocious disagreements to the humble noble at the metaphysical top of the bookmarked Twitter hill? Does he not know that there is a natural order to things and that he, by virtue of his cock and balls, is so much better off than she and so should shut the fuck up as the fuck-faced lad he is, stay in his lane and never contradict the inane and insane ramblings of this noble woman whom he so defiled by his parade of disastrous dissent? For doing so, disagreeing with a woman is misogyny by default, woman-hating and woman-bashing and whatever else there is to put the word woman in front of. Such a terrible trespass, such a crime that ought to be punishable by banishment and later on by death. Here come the gag orders. Gag him with the full fury of the people kinds in blue, with all the layered lawyers and brutal barristers, all the perverted politicians and corrupt constabularies the goddess can bring forth from out the flesh of the patriarchy that just hates women ever so much, that oppresses the ever-loving gobblefuck out of every square inch of their luxuriously dyed hair and painted fingernails that never once cracked or broke from shovel lifting and sweat and blood. And misogyny is hate crime. And misogyny is whatever the fuck the wearer of the problem glasses say that it is, by gobbly golly, and so be it, for such did Karen speak and sputter. Problem glasses can only hide the true Karen for so long. Karen-ness, I believe and one assumes, can be measured simply by looking at the wingspan of Karen's spectacles. A spectacular spectacle brought forth from spectacles that speak spectacular spectacle woes and worries. Let me talk to the manager of men. I am most displeased with this disservice from the hands and meaty mouths of mutton-eating men. I demand to speak with the manager of the patriarchy. So spake Karen, and all who listened then obeyed. Except the ones that didn't listen or obey, which gave Karen PTSD from their dissent as she saw that she was no longer locked within the bowels of her aristocratically academic echo chamber. Oh goodness gracious goddess, no! No, Karen! No! Put that footstool down. You don't know where it's been. Besides, you are far too delicate to lift it. Don't overexert yourself, Karen. Breathe, Karen. Breathe, for fuck's sake, Karen, breathe! Someone fetch the smelling salts. Karen has swooned again at being exposed to this terribly murky masculine musk. Masculinity is surely dead, and men are obsolete. Evidenced as such by vague murmurs of dissent being enough to bring the high and mighty to their knees, in problem-glassed shakes and shivers, whimpering and crying and begging for freedom from the persecution suffered at the hands of all these plebs, these peasants, these serfs and these have-nots that have it all and are so privileged that they tie the weak and meek amongst us all in knots. Masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. Here come the age of feminine tyranny, an age marked by irrational fear-mongering, emotional upheaval, hysteria, and all those other stereotypes of women which we have been told are not true and are, in fact, damaging to women. All held forth as shining examples of strength and of passion and of whatever else. God fucking damn it, but I grow so fucking tired of pointing this out whenever and wherever. If this stereotype of women, the hysterical, the emotionally immature and volatile, the powerless, the irrational, the emotionally reasoning stereotype of women, that women can neither reason nor logic is oh so damaging to women. These women would do well to not live up to the stereotype to such an extent that they make for perfect cannon fodder for such articulate assholes like myself to write a shitpost such as this on it. Masculinity is dead, they say, and men are obsolete. Give way, lean to the sides, cup your balls and drag them up into your womb, you lovely ladyboys. The feminine is the new de facto default. Any man worth his salt is a lady through and through, even when he has no womb. Though boys can menstruate, we're told in schools that reek of fuckery and neglect, that sold their souls to the politically correct narrative and, in so doing, ruined generations of children. There is no sex and there ain't no gender and there are no differences between the two sexes. Nor are there any between the 7-11 genders, for that sexual matter that matters little to the sexuality of meaty matter. No difference, that is, except the wickedness of man, which is worse than that of women, cause that don't exist except when it do. Which is when they are influenced by the wickedness of men, say Karen, all strung up and wound up with no manager to speak to anymore. For, you see, all the managers turned into Karens overnight as the proverbial glass ceiling shattered, and all that is left is a bunch of angry Karens yelling at other angry Karens. Oh boy, what a terrible future this is. Masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. I know this to be true, for those who wished the death of masculinity and who wished for men to be rendered obsolete told me so. A panel full of women wishing for the death of men and of masculinity said so, with no man in sight to say or to claim otherwise. One would surely be a savage man-beast with feral inclinations to say otherwise. Not that it matters, otherwise or no, considering that dissent muttered in dissenting tunes and harmonies would be deemed harassment and considered pale and ruptured soggy knees and so bring the panel to their swollen knees in PTSD brainwaves, lapping at the beach of femininity and fragility that are so linked and intertwined in the strengths of these women. Strength, that is measured in weakness shown and bragged and then later on drowned in all the jargon and intellectualism a lovely ladyboy could ever wish to eat or drink or piss or shit. Masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. This is clear and obvious, and all who say otherwise are either dying or obsolete. The thing is the thing whether the thing is real or not. So spake Karen. And all who spoke against are guilty of hate speech, and so should be removed from her sight and from the might and influence of the glorious wingspan of her problem glasses. Masculinity is dead, and men are obsolete. Long live masculinity. Long live men. And that, I think, is that for this ramble. I hope you enjoyed it more than my previous rambles. Thank you very much for listening. Please check out the links down below, and I'll catch you next time. This is Maria Legier, signing off.